Hello and welcome to I24 News Sports Daily Magazine with all the latest scores and stories from around the world. Thursday evening, the weekend is almost here, and these are the headlines. It could have been the final, but the US and Canada will face each other in the men's ice hockey semifinal, while Norway celebrates again in the biathlon. Pep Guardiola and his boys were simply too much for Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Bayern Munich is once again on the way to take Arsenal out of the Champions League. No Team Duncan, no Tony Parker, no problem. Even without the two veteran stars, San Antonio wins in Portland with another offensive display by Patty Mills. And we choose this week's top 5, a double gold medal on the slopes, a beautiful strike by Neymar, and the photo finish in the men's biathlon. Is any of them our number 1? Hello again, and thank you for joining us. We are live from the Jaffa Port. Another evening of Champions League is behind us. Once again, the visiting teams are the ones who came out with a win. We will have all the information from London and Milan in a short while, but now it's time for Sochi. Veteran champions winning an Olympic gold, the most decorated Winter Olympian of all times, and a giant clash set for the semifinal on the ice. Here's our update of what happened in Sochi over the past 24 hours. American Ted Ligety won the gold in the men's giant slalom, but it wasn't an easy ride. The world champion faced a tough challenge from the French duo of Steve Missillier and Alexis Pinturault. Ligety started strong. He lost some speed along the way, but his fast start was enough to lead him to victory. Missillier came in second. Norway's Ole Einar Bjørndalen is now the most successful Winter Olympic athlete in history. His gold medal in the biathlon mixed relay was his 13th Olympic medal. This is his second gold in Sochi, and at the age of 40, he's also the oldest Winter Games gold medalist. What a showdown awaits at the men's ice hockey semifinal. The US will be there after beating the Czech Republic 5-1. The rivals will be Canada, who beat Latvia 2-1. It will be a rematch of the final from Vancouver 4 years ago. It was an intense match back then, with Canada winning in overtime. Another Maple Leaf victory or an American revenge? The answer tomorrow night. And here's a look at the medal table in Sochi. Norway's success in the biathlon that we have just seen takes their gold tally to 10, ahead of Germany with 8 gold medals. The overall leader is the United States with 23, 7 of them gold, followed by the Russian host with 22 overall and 6 golds. The Netherlands, with their phenomenal speed skating success, have 22 medals, with 6 being gold. Same gold medal tally for Switzerland. The Swiss have 11 medals overall. Snowboarding has been an Olympic sport for the past 16 years, but has never been entirely a part of the Olympic family, as the free spirit and good vibes of the sport do not always coincide with the competitiveness often expected from Olympians. But the snowboarders still seem to love it at the Olympics, and so does the crowd. Matthew Taubman with a story.
The sense of freedom, the hair in the wind, the lack of boundaries, that is the spirit of snowboarding. According to the sports purists, this spirit doesn't always match the Olympic state of mind. The sport of snowboarding was introduced in the Winter Olympics for the first time at the 1998 Nagano Games. The International Olympic Committee was blamed at the time for adding snowboarding to the Games in order to capitalize on its success and for imposing the competitive spirit on the free-loving snowboarders. The athletes have tried to resist the fight for Olympic gold medals. Snowboard competitions, either races or freestyle, are always full of cheerfulness, smiles, and solidarity. Australia's Tora Bright, the defending champion from the Vancouver 2010 Games, lost her title to American Caitlin Farrington. Nevertheless, that didn't let her down, as in snowboarding, the most important thing is to have fun.
I have no idea how I did it, but I just stayed positive. I had a blast up here tonight, and it was so much fun riding. The pipe was the best it's been all week for us, and so I'm just happy to put runs down all night.
This spirit can be dampened by snowboarding's biggest star, the freestyle guru himself, Shaun White. The two-time Olympic champion isn't highly appreciated by his peers, probably due to the fact he takes winning seriously, maybe even too much. Before the beginning of the Games, White announced his refusal to compete at the slopestyle event in Sochi. Some might say that the fear of losing drove him to the decision. However, snowboarding remains a big and congenial family. When Shalon Miller, an inspiring snowboarder and brother of the 2010 Olympic skiing champion Bodie Miller, was found dead from an apparent seizure in 2013, the emotions among the snowboarding community were strong.
I'd like to dedicate my medal to Shalon. I know he's up there looking down on us, and we all miss you. I know the Miller family has been going through some pretty hard times. He is the embodiment of snowboarding. He always had a smile on his face.
In spite of the riders' preference for the X Games, which preserved the freeness and fun of snowboarding spirit, the Sochi competitions were a success. The athletes managed to smile there and put on a show. Not an easy task for a sport that wishes to remain different.
Now to the Champions League and to Bayern Munich's win 2-0 over Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. Both teams missed a penalty in the first half when the match was still goalless, one of them resulting in a red card to Arsenal's goalkeeper. After the game, the two managers referred to this incident, and you will not be surprised to hear they had different opinions.
I think our keeper went genuinely for the ball. He touched Robben, who made certainly more of it, what I told him, but after, unfortunately, it changed completely the game. And it basically as well didn't change the game, it killed the game.
It's penalty. I saw in TV it's penalty. The goalkeepers can touch the ball, so it's the last player, 11 meter, is when the referee decides it's penalty.
In the other match last night, Atletico Madrid did a big step towards a quarterfinal when they beat Milan in the San Siro 1-0. This was the first ever victory for Atletico Madrid in a Champions League knockout stage. Diego Costa, who else, scored for the Colchoneros, and their manager Diego Simeone knows he can count on his stars for the big matches.
These kind of matches are decided in episodes and sometimes by individuals. So Courtois saved when he had to, and Costa scored when he had to. The further the competition goes, details become more decisive.
And joining us now is I24 News football analyst Yoav Borovic. Hi, Yoav.
Hi, Jonathan.
Yoav, first 4 games already gone, 4 games all won by the visiting teams. Are we given the home court, home field advantage too much importance? Maybe it's not that important? Or if the games were in Munich, Barcelona, and Madrid, we'd be asking different questions now.
Yeah, sometimes we do give home court advantage a bigger importance, but we saw the lesser teams, the teams that are seated lower, hosting the first games, and they're not as good. You know, if Bayern was hosting Barcelona, Paris Saint-Germain, there would be different results.
Would look different.
Yeah, but still, we see teams going to away games, to tough away games. You know, in the Etihad, it's not easy to win there, and really winning in a very, very positive fashion.
Way. Now let's talk about last night's game. Bayern Munich in the Emirates Stadium at Arsenal's home floor. People ask, what will Pep Guardiola change on respect to last year, to you, Penkes? It's the ball possession. Almost 80% of the time they had the ball. They can do whatever they want with that much possession.
Yeah, I think Pep Guardiola is inventing the German tiki-taka, because Bayern was...
German tiki-taka. I have to think about that.
Yeah, it should be a new term. I think what they're doing in Bayern is just unbelievable. To come to a team that already won the treble, reaching the highest mountains you can reach in world soccer.
And improving
them quite dramatically is just unbelievable. They have so many great players, and they're playing like a team. The ball is always on the floor. They're playing both sides from the center. Just great football to watch. Arsenal lost 2-0, but they could have lost 7-8-0 easily.
Easy. Now let's move to the game on Tuesday. Barcelona won 2-0 at the Etihad Stadium in Manchester, and yes, they made a very big step towards the next stage. But I think Manchester City were pretty good, at least until the red card. And one thing we have to remember about them: they're the only team that beat Bayern Munich this year 3-2 at the Allianz Arena. So don't count them out just yet.
True, but Manchester City were very dominant until now at the Etihad, and losing 2-0 to Barcelona was just something no one expected. I think Manchester City didn't play as offensive-minded as they used to play so far. I think Pellegrini, we watch him here now, I think he was a bit afraid, a bit concerned. He we opened just with one striker and not with two. And Yaya Toure played very deep.
And that's a team that scores at home in the Premier League.
Yeah, they scored 3-4 goals a game, and they didn't score even once. And Barcelona dominated the possession and scored the goals. And I think had Manchester City came to the field with a more offensive-minded football, they could have got a much better result.
Yeah, and obviously they will have to do that in the replay.
Yeah, so that will be interesting.
They have no choice.
Yeah.
Now, a very surprising team was Paris Saint-Germain. We knew they were strong. We knew they were favorites against the Leverkusen. But coming to Germany, winning 4-0, makes you wonder, are they Champions League title holder material?
Yeah, I don't think they're favorites to do that, but definitely. You have Zlatan Ibrahimovic. On a given night, he could be the best striker in the world. They have Edinson Cavani. They have so many very good players. We tend to forget last year, they made it to the quarterfinals against Barcelona.
Almost took Barcelona out.
Almost beat Barcelona. Was one goal, difference. So I think Paris Saint-Germain, they have the money, they have the attitude, especially with Zlatan coming to Leverkusen, a Bundesliga, top-rated team, beating them 4-0 so convincingly. Paris Saint-Germain, a very dangerous team.
And one quick note, Atletico Madrid probably on their way again to the next stage after winning 1-0 at the San Siro, coming onto the Vicente Calderón. They look like favorites. The question is, isn't it, their squad is not very wide. Is it not too much for them being in such a big race against Real Madrid and Barcelona in the local league, and then again against all those big names in the Champions League?
We ask all season long if it's too much to ask for them, but they're giving us good answers.
And when
as
February,
you said,
they're still up
with
there.
the same points February with Real Madrid, Barcelona is an amazing achievement already. And going to Milan, going to the San Siro, beating Milan 1-0 away, also not something that we can look down at. I think Atletico Madrid is a very strong team. Diego Costa, again, scoring, Diego Simona, he has the team together. It depends on the draw. We still don't have the draw for the next stage, but they can also go quite far.
Very interesting to see you. Yoav Borovic, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
We move now to the NBA in another giant clash in the Western Conference as the San Antonio Spurs traveled to Portland. Tim Duncan had a day off and Tony Parker is injured, but even without two of their biggest stars, the Spurs showed how much depth and talent they have. They faced the Blazers, one of the strongest teams in the league so far, and they were not intimidated when the home team took the early lead. Patty Mills made sure San Antonio kept close. Damian Lillard was the go-to guy for Portland with 31 points on a 13 of 21 shooting night. He also had 6 assists, including this one to Robin Lopez. But the Spurs always came with the answer. Manu Ginobili, the veteran trio member who was on the court, nailed this difficult shot, and now everything was set for the Patty Mills show. He was the leading scorer for the Spurs the night before when they beat the Clippers, and he had the same energy the second night in a row. The Aussie came off the bench to score 29 points and earn his much-deserved admiration from his All-Star teammates. The Blazers had one final run, but Bellinelli finds Thiago Splitter, who hits the two and goes to the line. San Antonio wins again, this time 111-109. Now, as the week is ending, it's time to go back to the top 5 plays and moments of the week that is ending. Here we go. We always thought every competition has one winner and one second place. Well, time to think again. Our number 5 this week goes to 2 athletes who shared the Olympic gold in the women's downhill skiing. Tina Mays and Dominique Giesin had identical times, sharing the gold medal. Number 4 goes to Barcelona, who enjoyed a very good week. It finished with a 2-0 win over Manchester City in the Champions League and began with a 6-0 thrashing of Rayo Vallecano in the Spanish League. Messi scored twice in that game and Neymar had a beautiful strike. There were talks of a crisis recently. Well, not anymore. We just love races that go all the way to the finish line. This was exactly the case in the men's biathlon, which is our choice for number 3. Norway's Emil Hegel Svensson and French Martin Foucault are separated by just millimeters. The photo finish says that it was the Norwegian who takes the gold. The NBA's All-Star Game is always a slam dunk feast with a little defense around. This time the players took it to whole new levels. The highest score ever in an All-Star history is our number 2, 318 points combined, as the East gets the first win over the West in 4 years, 163-155. And the best speed skating nation in the world is our top choice this week. Number 1 goes to the Netherlands, who just control this event. Coming into the weekend, the Dutch won 21 out of 30 medals given in speed skating, many of the podiums being all orange. If you want to grow to be a good speed skater, then Holland is definitely special place for you. Moving on to Formula One action with its second preseason testing, this time in Bahrain. If the preseason is any indication to the actual one, then Force India is looking like a strong competitor in the race as they came first in the preseason test, but the day was overshadowed mainly by technical mishaps. Sebastian Vettel and Red Bull managed to race only a few laps before going to the pits for reasons that were not disclosed, and world champion was definitely not happy about it. Red Bull was not the only team with technical difficulties. Fernando Alonso also finished early following a gas leak that saw plumes of smoke pouring off the back of his car. And just before we say goodbye, we'll check up on the World Cup, still on its tour around the world. The latest stop was Rome, venue of the 1990 World Cup final. The trophy also arrived to the Italian capital in 2006 after the Squadra Azzurra won the competition held in Germany. Gennaro Gattuso, part of that winning team, unveiled the trophy. He would sure love to see it again after this final in Rio Maracanã. That's it for today. Thank you for being with us. We wish you a very good weekend. Bye-bye.